In the depths of the world prison tower, Ye Xuan endures pain beyond death itself. While the Ye clan celebrates a false miracle, his hidden strength begins to awaken. But when his sister's life is threatened once again, mercy disappears. A sword cultivator is born in blood, and a life-or-death duel is about to begin. Now let us follow the first sword god, episode 2. It hurt so much that he no longer wanted to live. At that moment, for the first time, Ye Xuan wanted to die. Before this, the pain had only been in his flesh, but this time, he could clearly feel his internal organs and meridians exploding over and over again inside his body. Forming a kind of agony he had never experienced before. Endure it. Ye Xuan clenched his teeth, his whole body trembling violently. Although all he wanted was to pass out and be done with it, deep in his heart he knew he could not. Once he fainted, he might never wake up again. If that happened, what would become of his little sister? She was only 12 years old. Would the Ye family treat her kindly? Thinking of this, Ye Xuan suddenly raised his head and let out a furious roar, his fists clenched tightly. His face twisted with madness as he cried, "Come on then, make it hurt even more, ha ha ha, I can still take it. Damn it, this hurts too much. Can't you make it a little lighter?" The seconds passed in silence. No one knew how much time went by before Ye Xuan's body suddenly went limp like mud and collapsed to the floor. He continued convulsing like a man having a seizure for a full 15 minutes before finally stopping. By then, his entire body was drenched in sweat. He lay weakly on the ground, without the strength to move even a single finger. At the same time, outside the world prison tower, dark clouds suddenly surged in from all directions, covering the sky above the Ye residence. Rain began to fall over the Ye estate, while everywhere else remained clear and sunny. Not only that, a rainbow quietly appeared. When the first rainbow vanished, a second one appeared. When the third rainbow was about to condense, the world prison tower inside Ye Xuan suddenly trembled, and the rainbow vanished with it. A heavenly phenomenon, all of Qing City was shaken. In this world, when certain peerless geniuses broke through or gained enlightenment, they could trigger a phenomenon of heaven and earth. This story had always been regarded as nothing more than a legend, yet today it had appeared in Qing City. In an instant, every eye turned toward the sky above the Ye residence. Inside the residence, the great elder led all the clansmen to kneel in the front courtyard. He respectfully clasped his hands toward the sky and said excitedly, "Thank the heavens for blessing the Ye family. Thank the heavens for blessing Ye Lian." Countless members of the clan kowtowed one after another. From top to bottom, the entire Ye residence was filled with excitement and joy. At the city lord's mansion, an elderly man looked at the heavenly phenomenon above the Ye residence, his expression somewhat ugly. "What a Ye Lian. To think he can trigger a heavenly phenomenon. Men, send word to the heads of the Jiang family and the Lai family. Tell them to come to the mansion." One messenger pigeon after another flapped its wings and flew out from Qing City in every direction, creating a striking scene. Heaven-chosen ones were rare, but the fact that the Ye family had one was not a secret. However, a heaven-chosen one who could also trigger a heavenly phenomenon was even rarer. Everyone in the city knew that the Ye family was about to rise. Not only in Qing City, but perhaps even throughout Jiang Kingdom and maybe all of Qingzhou. Every member of the Ye family was boiling with excitement. The great elder not only generously rewarded everyone with a month's allowance. He even bypassed the clan head and directly appointed Ye Lian as the young clan leader. There was a difference between an heir and a young clan leader. The former merely represented the younger generation of the Ye residents. The latter was the second highest figure in the entire estate. The great elder did not care that he had overstepped his authority. In his eyes, Ye Lian would certainly become a dragon among men in the future. What objection could the clan head possibly have? From now on, the entire Ye residence would have to rely on Ye Lian to survive. In his own courtyard, Ye Lian raised his head and looked at the phenomenon in the sky, frowning slightly. He had indeed broken through from the 6th level, the Kai transformation realm, into the Imperial Kai realm. But that had happened an hour ago, while this heavenly phenomenon had only just appeared. Because of this, he could not be certain that it had been caused by him. But after only a short while, Ye Lian let out a disdainful laugh. If not me, who else could have caused this phenomenon? It seems that in this life, I, Ye Lian, am destined to earn a place on the list of monsters. After that, he stood up and left. Inside the world prison tower, Ye Xuan did not know how long he had been lying there. It was not until the mysterious woman's voice rang out that he finally moved. Sit up and look at your body. He slowly lifted himself and looked down, then he froze. His skin was covered in a faint golden glow. What is this? Ye Xuan asked, looking around in confusion. The mysterious woman said, this is the golden body realm. It means your physical body has been cultivated into a golden body. The physical body is the foundation. Among all body refining stages, the flesh body realm is the basic foundation that determines how far you can go in the future. Ordinary people who cultivate focus only on the outside and ignore the inside. But in truth, the inside is what matters most. The bones, organs, and internal vessels must be tough and resilient before they can withstand pressure from the outside. Although the pain you suffered did not originate from your own body, it will benefit you later. No, in fact, you have already benefited greatly. Ye Xuan took a deep breath and clenched his fist. When he felt an immense force circulating through his body, he was overjoyed. The mysterious woman was right. His current strength was more than double what it had been before. Not only that, the toughness of his body was worlds apart from before. Even if he fought someone in the Imperial Kai realm, someone who had grown soft and comfortable like the Great Elder, he would not feel much pressure. Suddenly, Ye Xuan thought of something and hurriedly asked, Senior, do you have a way to cure my sister's cold illness? After a long silence, she replied, that little girl. Ye Xuan nodded repeatedly. Of course I have a way, but that girl cannot enter this tower. Why? Ye Xuan asked. The mysterious woman said, the tower spirit has fallen into a deep sleep. Although it has acknowledged you as its master, you barely possess any of the tower's laws. You cannot bring others inside. If you try to force it, the tower's instinct will destroy any person it does not recognize. These words darkened Ye Xuan's expression. It seemed he could only take his sister to the imperial capital for treatment. Before him was another difficult problem. To reach the Imperial Kai realm, he had to absorb spirit swords. But forget the Ye family, even if one searched all of Qing City, it would probably be impossible to find a single spirit sword. Something so precious could only exist in a prosperous place like the imperial capital of Jiang Kingdom, the imperial capital. Ye Xuan murmured, it seems I must go there. He practiced sword techniques for a while longer, then left the world prison tower. After he disappeared, a faint voice suddenly murmured, that little girl, she is somewhat strange. Ye Xuan had just returned to his room when Ye Lian walked in with a gloomy expression. Ye Xuan smiled and asked, what's wrong? The little girl came before him and whispered, Big brother, that Ye Lian triggered a heavenly phenomenon. Everyone in the clan is overjoyed. The Great Elder even appointed him young clan leader. In the future, he will become the head of our family. A heavenly phenomenon, Ye Xuan frowned slightly. He had heard certain legends about monstrous geniuses who could trigger heavenly phenomena when breaking through. But those had always been only legends. Qing City had never produced such a monster before. He truly had not expected Ye Lian to trigger a heavenly phenomenon. It seemed Ye Lian really was a monstrous genius. Ye Lian suddenly sniffed. What heavenly phenomenon? In any case, Big Brother is still the strongest. Ye Xuan smiled, don't worry. In 10 more days, it will be time for my life and death match with him. After that, we will leave the Ye residence together. Leave here? Ye Lian was stunned. Thence will we ever come back? Come back. Ye Xuan fell silent. The two of them had grown up here since childhood. They had always regarded this place as their home. But after what had happened, he realized that those elders had never truly cared about him or Ye Lian. If he had not still been useful, the two siblings might have died long ago. And now, as soon as the family found someone better, they abandoned him without hesitation. He had once believed that if he died one day, the Ye family would remember the merits he had earned by risking his life for them and take care of Ye Lian. But now, thinking about it, if he really died, his sister's fate could be summed up in one word: miserable. Thinking of this, Ye Xuan shook his head with a smile and stroked Ye Lian's hair. Do you like this place? Ye Lian also shook her head. I used to like it because Big Brother was here. But now I don't like it anymore. The family is too unfair to you. You gave so much for them, yet they treated you like this. The great elder really doesn't understand fairness. And the other elders didn't speak up for you either, they're all bad people. Ye Xuan smiled, don't worry, the world is vast. As long as we are together, anywhere can be home. Ye Lian smiled sweetly and threw herself into her brother's arms. As long as I can stay with you, I can go anywhere. Ye Xuan laughed as well. After playing with his sister for a while, he returned to the world prison tower. He had to cultivate. There were only 10 days left before his duel with Ye Lian. Now that Ye Lian had triggered a heavenly phenomenon, Ye Xuan did not dare be lazy. Ye Xuan opened his right hand. When he saw a silver sword quietly appear, he asked excitedly, Senior, can I now be considered a sword immortal? Sword immortal. The mysterious woman sneered. You are still 18,000 miles away from that. Ye Xuan was puzzled. Why? She explained, only those who have comprehended sword intent and grasped the true essence of the sword Tao can be called sword immortals. Right now, you are not even a sword master. At best, you can barely be considered a sword cultivator. Ye Xuan felt somewhat embarrassed. The woman continued, what you need to do now is become a qualified sword cultivator. Don't blame me for not reminding you boys. This world does not lack sword cultivators, but sword immortals are far too rare. In this realm, having 10 of them would already be impressive. You will understand why later. All I can tell you is that the sword Tao is very difficult to walk. Ye Xuan nodded. No matter how difficult it is, I will fight my way through. The matter with the Ye family had taught him that if he wanted to take care of his sister, he could only rely on himself and absolutely could not depend on the family. To do that, he had to become much stronger than he was now. This world was extremely realistic. If you had no value, no one would take you seriously. Ye Xuan cut off his thoughts and asked in a low voice, Senior, how do I become a qualified sword cultivator? The woman replied, use your sword to cut hair. Ye Xuan was stunned. That's simple, she sneered, then try it. Ye Xuan pulled out a strand of hair and swung his sword. Boom. He was startled to discover that the strand of hair had shattered into pieces, instead of being cut cleanly in half. The mysterious woman's voice rang out again. Once you possess strength, you must learn how to use it. You must learn the angle of your strike, the speed of your draw, and how to control every aspect of the sword. You must even take the direction of the wind into account. I estimate that you will need to cut tens of thousands of strands of hair before you grasp these essentials. Ye Xuan took a deep breath. I don't lack hair, then he began swinging his sword madly. At the same time, outside the world prison tower, the Ye residents had been decorated in a grand and lively manner. They held a banquet and invited nearly every person of status in Qing City to attend. Not only that, the clan members had also begun to regard their family as the #1 clan in the city. Under the Ye family's blazing momentum, even the city lord's mansion, the Lai family, and the Jiang family had no choice but to obediently come and offer congratulations. In the guest hall, the great elder sat in a chair with his eyes half closed, as if waiting for something. An old man entered. Great elder, the city lord, and the heads of the Lai and Jiang families have arrived. The great elder opened his eyes and said indifferently, Ye Yu, tell them I am resting and cannot receive guests for the moment. Tell them I will see them after half an hour. Ye Yu hesitated, great elder this. The great elder closed his eyes again. Now is the time to let them know who the true master of Qing City is. Outside the Ye residence, Ye Yu clasped his hands toward an old man and 2 middle-aged men. City Lord Jiang, Patriarch Lai, Patriarch Zhang, I am truly sorry. The great elder is resting and cannot receive guests for the time being. However, the 3 of you may wait half an hour. By then, the great elder should be awake. Lai Yu, the head of the Lai family, narrowed his eyes. You want us to wait half an hour? Ye Yu nodded and smiled. Of course, if the 3 of you do not wish to wait, you may also leave. With that, he turned and walked away. The Ye family truly no longer needed to show respect to the other families. Although the Ye family's overall strength was not yet equal to the other 3 powers, Every member of the Ye family believed that before long, the Ye family would become an existence those families could only look up to. Seeing Ye leave, the expressions of Lai Yu and the others immediately became ugly. Lai Yu said coldly, "This great elder of the Ye residence is truly arrogant." Jiang Kingdom, the city lord of Qing City, said softly, "Now that they have Ye Lian, of course they can afford to ignore us." Zhang Lai, the head of the Jiang family, sneered. When one man gains power, the whole family rises with him. But the great elder's arrogance and lack of restraint may not be a good thing for the Ye family. After speaking, he looked at Lai Yu and Jiang Kingdom. "Gentlemen, before this we were still hesitating over whether we should cooperate. Now it seems cooperation is no longer optional." Jiang Kingdom and Lai Yu exchanged a glance, then the three of them nodded. Clearly, the attitude of the Ye family had forced them to work together. Half an hour later, the three men entered the Ye family's reception hall. The great elder came forward to greet them and clasped his hands. "I am truly sorry. Lately, this old man has become fond of sleep and made the three of you wait. I hope you will forgive me." Jiang Kingdom smiled. "Not at all. The great elder has been very busy recently. We understand, we understand." The great elder laughed loudly. "Come, please sit." After the three of them sat down, the great elder glanced at them and smiled. "The three of you came here together today. I assume there is something you wish to discuss." Lai Yu smiled. "Of course, we came to congratulate the Ye family for producing a heaven-chosen one. This is a joy for all of Qing City. Congratulations." The great elder smiled. Ye Lian awakened and even triggered a heavenly phenomenon. "This is the heavens favoring my Ye family." He lifted his teacup and took a sip, then smiled again. "Thank you all for coming to congratulate the Ye family." At that moment, Lai Yu stepped forward and clasped his hands. "Great elder, in the past, there have been many unpleasant matters between my Lai family and the Ye family. I hope the Ye family can be magnanimous." Zhang Lai also stood and clasped his hands. "Great elder, my Jiang family has also offended the Ye family many times before. I hope the Ye family can overlook it. In the past, the Jiang and Lai families could be called irreconcilable enemies of the Ye family. This was especially true of the Jiang family, because the former heir of the Ye family had died at their hands. But now, the Jiang and Lai families had no choice but to bow their heads. The Ye family had produced a heaven-chosen one, and one who could trigger a heavenly phenomenon at that. If they did not bow their heads now, their heads might fall later." The great elder drank his tea and said nothing. With his silence, the atmosphere in the hall immediately became heavy. Zhang Lai glanced toward City Lord Jiang Kingdom. Jiang Kingdom gave a soft laugh. "Great elder, we are all people of Qing City. Qing City is only so large. We see each other constantly, so conflict is hard to avoid. Now that the Ye family will surely develop further, your opponents will certainly be powerful clans of the wider world. Would you not agree?" The great elder chuckled. "Since Brother Jiang has put it that way, what else can I say? How about this? In recent years, my Ye family has had a difficult time. For the next 10 years, the mining rights to the gold mines around Qing City shall be handed over to my Ye family." At this, everyone's expression darkened. It could be said that they were furious. Gold mines. What did the families of Qing City rely on to survive? Naturally, gold mines. The conflicts among the families also arose from the gold mines. There were several mineral veins around Qing City, and every time a new mine was discovered, it almost always led to a life and death struggle. No family wanted to let go because gold mines represented resources. If a family lost its resources, the higher-ups could no longer cultivate, and the younger generation could no longer be nurtured. If that continued, destruction would only be a matter of time. And now, the Ye family had opened their mouths and demanded 10 years of mining rights. That meant the major families of Qing City would have no income for 10 years. It was not necessarily a road to absolute ruin, but for the next 10 years they might have to live on grass. Not far away, City Lord Jiang Kingdom looked at the great elder. He said nothing and lowered his head to drink tea. But his eyes were extremely cold. Not only Jiang Kingdom, the other two men's expressions were also extremely ugly. Before coming, they had already prepared themselves to be extorted. But they had not expected the Ye family to be this outrageous. The great elder looked at them and smiled. Do not worry, everyone. In 10 years, Ye Lian will likely have become a person of the mountains. By then, haha. Hearing this, the expressions of Jiang Kingdom and the others changed instantly. A person of the mountains. This referred to hidden sect powers. The great elder's words were clearly a threat and an open one at that. Once Ye Lian joined those powers, destroying them would likely be a matter of a single thought. Thinking of this, Jiang Kingdom and the others exchanged glances. Finally, Jiang Kingdom stood, clasped his hands and said, "Since the Ye family is in difficulty, then the mining rights to the ore veins around Qing City for the next 10 years shall belong to the Ye family." The great elder smiled and cupped his fists. "Then I thank you," Jiang Kingdom nodded. "Then we shall take our leave." With that, the three men departed. At that moment, Ye Yu entered the hall and said in a heavy voice, "Great elder, doing this will offend all of them." Offend them. The great elder sneered. Does my Ye family still fear offending them now? Once Ye Lian becomes a person of the mountains, destroying them will be a matter of moments. My Ye family is already being kind by asking for only 10 years of mining rights. With that, he flicked his sleeve and walked away. Outside the Ye residence, as soon as Jiang Kingdom and the others left, their expressions turned ferocious. Too much bullying. Zhang Lai said through clenched teeth. The Ye family has only just gained power, yet they already want to drive everyone to extinction. Lai Yu said coldly that Ye Lian is a heaven-chosen one who can trigger a heavenly phenomenon. Now that the Ye family has Ye Lian, forget us, even the city lord's mansion is beneath their notice. Jiang Kingdom shook his head. Enough. For now, we must endure. Return to your homes and wait, do not be impatient. Flowers bloom, but they also wither. The Ye family is acting so arrogant and tyrannical. One day they will run into trouble. After that, the three disappeared from the entrance of the Ye residence. After the Lai family, the Zhang family, and the city lord's mansion compromised, the entire Ye family swelled with arrogance. In the past, the Ye family had been somewhat cautious and submissive when facing those powers. But now, because of Ye Lian, every member of the Ye family became confident, extremely confident. At the same time, many younger members of the Ye family began to think of themselves as the #1 clan in Qing City. Not only the younger generation thought this, even the elders believed it. Now, almost everyone held Ye Lian in the palms of their hands. At that moment, many people suddenly remembered Ye Xuan. Have you heard? That Ye Xuan hasn't left his courtyard in a long time. Would he dare come out? Among the younger generation of Qing City, is there anyone brother Ye Lian needs to fear? No, among the younger generation of all Jiang Kingdom, brother Ye Lian is probably among the top talents. As for Ye Xuan, he probably isn't even worthy to carry brother Ye Lian's shoes. That's true. If he had kowtowed and admitted his mistake earlier, he might have kept his life. Who cares if he lives or dies? Do you know how glorious it feels for us Ye family youths outside now? Yesterday, I met a young master of the Zhang family. I walked up and slapped him and he didn't even dare say a word. Haha, yesterday I met the heir of the Lai family at Ye Xuan courtyard. In the past, he only had eyes for Ye Xuan. But yesterday, when I told him to get lost, he immediately got lost. He didn't dare talk back, it felt amazing. Exactly. Qing City is now decided by the Ye family. All of this is thanks to brother Ye Lian. Come on, let's go pay our respects to him. Inside the World Prison Tower, Ye Xuan held the An Lanxiu sword and continued swinging it. Mad training. To Ye Xuan, what he wanted to do now was become a swordsman. Since childhood, he and his sister had depended on each other for survival. He understood the importance of strength better than anyone. Especially after this incident, he understood one thing even more deeply. When a person loses power, he is truly worse than a dog. He had done so much and paid so much for the Ye family, yet when the Ye family said they would abandon him, they abandoned him. As a person, one could only rely on oneself. Inside the tower, no one knew how many times Ye Xuan had swung his sword. Now he could finally cut a hair with one strike. In other words, he could now be considered a sword cultivator, but it was still not enough. His speed and his control of power could only be considered those of an ordinary sword cultivator. he was still far from being a great sword cultivator. Cultivation passed without a sense of time. Very soon, only less than 3 days remained before the life and death agreement between him and Ye Lian. At that moment, Ye Xuan left the world prison tower. As soon as he stepped out, he frowned because Ye Lian should have come to bring him food at this time. Had something happened? Ye Xuan hurried to Ye Lian's room. At that moment, Ye Lian was lying on the bed, trembling all over, and a layer of white frost had formed on her hair. Seeing this, Ye Xuan's expression changed completely. He rushed over and took out the white jade bottle only to find it empty. The pills were gone. Ye Xuan slapped himself hard. Damn it. I forgot there were no pills left. I deserve death. After saying that, he slapped himself again, then hurriedly stroked Ye Lian's cheek and said with a trembling voice, Wait for Big Brother. Big Brother will be back right away. With that, he rushed out of the room like a madman and went straight to the Ye family's medicine room. Ye Xuan has come out. When some Ye family youth saw Ye Xuan, they immediately spread the news. A few busybodies even ran over to surround him. In the past, they naturally would not have dared. But now that Ye Lian had risen, these younger clan members no longer feared Ye Xuan as they once had. On the road, a group of Ye family youths suddenly blocked Ye Xuan's path. The leader was named Ye Feng. He was also the great elder's grandson and Ye Lian's younger cousin. Ye Feng looked at Ye Xuan and laughed. Ye Xuan, you've been hiding for so many days. Why are you free enough to come out today? Ye Xuan ignored Ye Feng and the others, walking toward the distant medicine room. But Ye Feng moved in front of him again and smiled. Ye Xuan, seeing you in such a hurry, could it be that your sickly little sister is about to die? If so, let me congratulate you in advance. After all, you will have one less burden in the future. You. At that moment, Ye Xuan suddenly stepped forward. Before Ye Feng could react, Ye Xuan's fist smashed into his throat. Crack. The sound of breaking bone rang out. Everyone around froze. Ye Feng's eyes bulged wide, the pupils in his eyes cracking with horror. At that moment, Ye Xuan pulled out the dagger at his waist and slashed across Ye Feng's throat. Rip. Ye Feng's head fell to the ground. Ye Xuan put away his dagger and swept his ferocious gaze across the Ye family youths. If anyone dares say one more bad word about my sister, I will make sure that person can never speak again for the rest of his life. The entire courtyard fell deathly silent. Fear and terror filled the faces of the Ye family youths. Everyone in the clan knew that Ye Xuan loved his sister dearly. Calling him obsessed with protecting her would not be wrong. But no one had expected him to go this far for his sister. Ye Feng was the great elder's grandson and Ye Lian's own cousin, yet Ye Xuan killed him as soon as he said he would. Ye Xuan ignored the remaining youths and rushed straight to the Ye family's medicine room, where he happened to meet an old man coming out. This man was Ye King, the elder in charge of the medicine room. When he saw Ye Xuan, he immediately frowned. Ye Xuan, what are you trying to do? Ye Xuan walked to the medicine cabinet and swept his eyes across it. Very quickly, his gaze stopped on a certain drawer. But when he pulled it open, he found it empty. His expression turned cold. He abruptly turned toward Ye King, nourishing spirit pills. Ye King narrowed his eyes. This old man has already put them away. Ye Xuan, the family will no longer provide medicine for your sister. Ye Xuan said nothing. Suddenly, he grabbed a scale weight the size of a fist from the medicine counter beside him, and threw it straight at Ye King. Ye King's expression changed, and he hurriedly dodged the weight. But then cold sweat burst out across his body when he saw Ye Xuan suddenly appear in front of him, fist already swinging straight toward his head. Simple, direct, Ye King panicked and hurriedly struck back with his right hand. Boom. A deep sound rang out as the two fists collided. Ye King staggered and retreated until he crashed into the corner of the wall. Ye Xuan and his fist appeared before him again. This time the target was still his head. Ye King's pupils shrank. He cried out in panic, I'll give them to you. Ye Xuan's fist stopped only a few inches from his face. Ye King looked at the young man before him in utter shock. Although he did not fight often, he had still reached the Kai transformation realm. Ye Xuan, according to what he knew, should only be at the 5th level, the unceasing realm. Yet after only one exchange, he had been utterly defeated. Ye Xuan's strength was terrifying. When Ye King saw Ye Xuan stretch out his hand, his expression changed slightly. But he no longer dared try anything. He quickly placed a white jade bottle into Ye Xuan's hand. Ye Xuan opened it and saw only 15 nourishing spirit pills inside. Seeing Ye Xuan frown, Ye King hurriedly explained, "Ye Xuan, these pills are extremely precious. Qing City doesn't have them. We have to order them from outside. This is all that remains from the previous batch." Ye Xuan was silent for a moment. Then he put the bottle away and asked, "I risked my life for the family for so many years. Taking these few pills now should not be considered excessive, right?" Ye King only looked at him and said nothing. Ye Xuan did not linger and was about to turn away, but then he saw the great elder leading a group of other elders to surround the entrance. Clearly, they already knew that he had gone mad and killed someone. The great elder's eyes fixed on Ye Xuan. "My grandson only said a few words. Was there any need to kill him?" Ye Xuan slowly walked before him. "If you don't know how to teach your grandson, then let me teach him for you." He quietly watched as the great elder's fists clenched. Although his face remained calm, killing intent had already risen in his eyes. Suddenly the great elder shouted through clenched teeth, "Kill him." Several guards in the residence rushed toward Ye Xuan. The corner of Ye Xuan's mouth lifted. He lightly raised his foot and his entire body vanished. Before anyone could see what had happened, the leading guard was sent flying several meters away. Ye Xuan did not stop there. He leapt up, his legs sweeping out like a whip toward another guard who had rushed in. With a crash, that man also joined the ranks of those kicked away. After that, Ye Xuan did not hesitate and charged toward his next target, the Great Elder. The Great Elder's face twisted with rage. He stepped forward and struck out with his palm. Ye Xuan immediately answered with a fist, boom. The moment fist and palm collided, the Great Elder was shaken and retreated 10 steps. But Ye Xuan did not move at all. The Great Elder stared at him in shock. "How is this possible? Your dantian was shattered. Where does this strength come from?" Hearing this, Ye Xuan narrowed his eyes. "How do you know about that?" The Great Elder only stared at him and said nothing, but Ye Xuan understood. The mysterious attacker who had ambushed him must have been sent by this old man. Just as the killing intent in Ye Xuan's eyes surged, a voice interrupted, "Ye Xuan, leave." Everyone turned toward the speaker, Ye Lian. Ye Xuan glanced coldly at him, then immediately left without entangling himself further. The guards nearby did not stop him, they only looked at Ye Lian. The Great Elder standing beside Ye Lian asked in confusion, "Ye Lian, even if you and he have a life and death duel arranged, he killed your cousin." This Ye Lian interrupted him, "Grandfather, rest assured. 2 days from now I will avenge you." The Great Elder's fists clenched tightly. His face was livid and he could not speak. Ye Lian smiled. "I know that arrogant madman deserves death, but now is not the time. 2 days from now, spread the news and let everyone in Qing City come watch the duel. I want to use this battle to make my name known." The Great Elder frowned. "What do you mean?" Ye Lian's smile did not fade. "Only by expanding my reputation can I attract the attention of the outside powers on the mountains. Ye Xuan will be the first person I trample under my feet. When that happens, my name will resound throughout Qing City. That will be my chance to catch their eye." The Great Elder's expression eased. "True, those powers are far away. If you do not create a great enough commotion, it will be difficult for them to notice you." Ye Lian nodded. "Great Elder, rest assured. 2 days from now, I will make him die in humiliation on the arena and repay the hatred in your heart." The Great Elder nodded as well. Then, as if thinking of something, he warned solemnly, "Although his dantian has been destroyed, his strength must not be underestimated. You must not be careless." Ye Lian smiled without responding, but in his heart he was full of disdain. He had clearly seen how the Great Elder had fallen into a disadvantage when facing Ye Xuan. In his mind, it was not that Ye Xuan was too strong. It was that the Great Elder was too weak, as a martial artist. Someone who had only lived in comfort and luxury, and had never pushed past the limits of an ordinary body, could be called nothing more than an old man. In Ye Lian's heart, not only the Great Elder, but all the elders in the residence were old men like that. He looked in the direction Ye Xuan had left and sneered. "It is your honor to become my stepping stone." Ye Xuan had just stepped into the room when he hurriedly poured out a nourishing spirit pill and watched Ye Lian swallow it. His heart was still filled with lingering fear, and he blamed himself for forgetting about his sister's medicine. Before long, Ye Lian slowly opened her eyes under her brother's anxious gaze. Seeing him, the little girl gave a sweet smile. "Big brother, it is so good to see you." Ye Xuan also smiled and held her hand gently. "Do you feel better?" The little girl nodded. "I'm not cold anymore." Ye Xuan said softly, "It was my fault. I promise this will never happen again, absolutely never." As Ye Lian looked at her brother, a tear suddenly slid from her eye. "Big brother, before this, I didn't want to be a burden to you, so I only wanted to die. But just now, I was so scared. I was afraid that after I died, you would be left all alone. I want to stay by your side forever." The corners of Ye Xuan's eyes also grew wet. He smiled and said, "Lioner will be fine, both of us will be fine." Ye Lian wiped away her tears. I will live well so I can stay with you my whole life." Ye Xuan hooked his little finger with hers and smiled. "Then we promise. Neither of us is allowed to die before the other." The little girl rolled her eyes at him. "Big brother, only children make pinky promises." Ye Xuan laughed. "In my heart, you will always be a child." Ye Lian's lips immediately curved into a bright smile like a blooming flower, her heart filled with sweetness. This time, Ye Xuan did not immediately return to cultivation. Instead, he carried Ye Lian on his back and went out for a walk through the city. Recently, the little girl had been stuck inside the Ye residence, without any chance to go outside. As her brother, Ye Xuan felt deeply guilty. Now that he had a little free time, he naturally wanted to make it up to her. After all, in Ye Xuan's heart, between heaven and earth, his sister was the most important. Qing City was a small city with a population of no more than 200,000. In Jiang Kingdom, it ranked near the bottom. Even so, it was still quite lively, with shops, street performers, and everything one could want. When the Ye residents learned that Ye Xuan had taken his sister out, they immediately sent people to follow him. The great elder would certainly not let him go, and they were also afraid he might flee. As for Ye Xuan, as long as those sneaking around did not cause trouble, he did not bother paying attention to them. "Big brother, I can walk by myself. Don't talk nonsense, you're still weak. Walk, what walking? Let me carry you a little longer." "Oh, really?" Ye Xuan carried Ye Lian across nearly half of Qing City. Only when dusk fell did he prepare to return. Just as they passed the city gate, they suddenly saw a girl galloping in on horseback. Her clothing was pure white, unstained by dust. In her right hand, she held a long silver spear, its tip shining like a distant star. The girl had an oval face and phoenix eyes. Her features were perfect, as if carved from jade. Her beauty was unforgettable, and she was the most beautiful girl Ye Xuan had ever seen. As this girl, who seemed like a painting come to life, entered the city, every gaze fell upon her. The horse had just crossed the city gate when she suddenly stopped beside Ye Xuan and Ye Lian. Her eyes settled on Ye Xuan. After observing him for a while, a look of surprise appeared in her eyes. Hidden realm. Ye Xuan's expression changed slightly. This girl knew about the hidden realms. More importantly, she could actually see that his realm had been concealed. Even the great elder and the others had not been able to see through it until now, because the mysterious woman had hidden it for him. As soon as the girl finished speaking, she raised her spear, its tip pointing directly at Ye Xuan. "You must be Ye Lian, the one who caused the heavenly phenomenon. To have cultivated to the hidden realm with such a solid foundation is indeed not bad. You are qualified to receive one spear strike from me. I am An Lanxiu. Come and take one strike from my spear, An Lanxiu." Someone cried out, "Heavens! She is the once-in-a-thousand-years genius of Jiang Kingdom, An Lanxiu. It really is her." An Lanxiu, the one whom the sovereign of Jiang Kingdom named a national scholar. A national scholar at only 18 years old. Even the previous dynasty never had such a person, let alone our Jiang Kingdom. I heard she is traveling around challenging every genius in Jiang Kingdom. She has passed through 36 cities, and not a single person has been able to withstand one spear strike from her. I heard she came here this time for Ye Lian. If he gains her praise, the Ye family will surely become famous. An Lanxiu. Ye Xuan was also stunned because he had heard this name before. An Lanxiu was known throughout Jiang Kingdom. She was truly famous. The #1 genius of Jiang Kingdom. Before even reaching 18, she had already reached the Skysword realm above the Imperial Kai realm. Not only that, she was also the youngest spear cultivator in Jiang Kingdom's history. And that was not even the most frightening part. The most terrifying thing was that she had comprehended spear intent. What did that mean? It meant that in the future, there was a 99% chance she would become a Grandmaster of the Spear Dao. A genius like this had never appeared in the several hundred years of Jiang Kingdom's history. Moreover, An Lanxiu held many records and legends. For example, she was the first student in Jiang Kingdom to be personally invited by the Dean of Kangmu Academy. She was the youngest national scholar in Jiang Kingdom. She was also the fastest among the younger generation of Jiang Kingdom to reach the Skysword realm. Compared with her, something like a heaven-chosen one or a heavenly phenomenon was truly nothing. Ye Xuan had not expected this person to come to tiny Qing City. Sitting atop her horse, An Lanxiu pointed the long spear in her hand at Ye Xuan. There was no contempt in her eyes, nor any arrogance that looked down upon the world. She was very calm. Ye Xuan returned from his thoughts and shook his head. "You have the wrong person," and Lanxiu frowned. "What do you mean?" Ye Xuan said, "I am not Ye Lian, the one who caused the heavenly phenomenon. He is at the Ye residence. You can go find him." And Lanxiu frowned slightly. "You are not Ye Lian," Ye Xuan nodded. At that moment, Ye Lian, who was beside Ye Xuan, suddenly said, "Big sister, my brother is also very strong." Ye Xuan smiled and rubbed Ye Lian's head. The little girl smiled sweetly and hugged his arm tightly, and Lanxiu studied Ye Xuan. I did not expect that in a small place like Qing City. Not only would there be a Ye Lian who could trigger a heavenly phenomenon, but also someone like you who cultivated the hidden realm. This is somewhat unexpected. Ye Xuan smiled and said nothing. And Lanxiu said, "Whether or not you are Ye Lian, you are qualified to receive a spear strike from me. Will you take it?" Ye Xuan fell silent. Take it? If he took it, he would certainly become famous. Although he did not care much about fame, he knew this reputation would definitely help him. But once he took her strike, his strength would be exposed. If his strength were revealed now, the Great Elder and the others might stop at nothing to kill him. They might even target his sister. But if he refused, that did not suit his nature. As a man, how could he be afraid? Thinking of this, Ye Xuan raised his head and looked at An Lanxiu. 2 days from now will you fight me? 2 days. An Lanxiu shook her head slightly. Do not blame me for speaking frankly, but you are not qualified to make me wait 2 days. After saying that, she prepared to urge her horse away. At that moment, Ye Xuan suddenly picked up a wooden sword from a nearby street stall. He plucked a strand of his own hair and then lightly swung the sword. The strand of hair was silently cut in half. And Lanxiu stopped and looked at Ye Xuan again, surprise appearing in her eyes. I did not look closely enough. Not only have you cultivated the hidden realm, you are also a sword cultivator. To be a sword cultivator at such a young age is rare in Jiang Kingdom. Ye Xuan looked directly at An Lanxiu. 2 days from now will you fight me? A playful smile appeared on An Lanxiu's peerlessly beautiful face. The man before her had said he wanted to fight her, not merely receive one spear strike from her. An Lanxiu studied Ye Xuan once more, then said, Very well. I will wait for you for 2 days. Now I wish to meet Ye Lian. Do you know where the Ye residence is? At that moment Ye Lian smiled and said, Big sister, we are also from the Ye family. You can come back with us. An Lanxiu looked at Ye Xuan. You are a young master of the Ye residence. Ye Xuan nodded. You could say that, and Lanxiu nodded slightly. Your Ye residence is fortunate. To have produced 2 geniuses, it seems you are not far from becoming a second-rate noble family. Ye Xuan only smiled and said nothing. In this way, the 2 siblings led An Lanxiu back to the Ye residence. An Lanxiu's arrival shocked the entire Ye family. The great elder personally led a group of elders out to welcome her. Although the Ye family was now arrogant and acted as if it looked down on the world, An Lanxiu came from the imperial capital. Moreover, the power behind her was something even 100 Ye families could not compare to. Therefore, when they learned that An Lanxiu had come to challenge Ye Lian, the elders of the Ye family were overjoyed. The three of them had just arrived at the gate of the residence when the great elder and the others came out to greet them. When the great elder saw Ye Xuan and Ye Lian, he immediately frowned. But he did not care about the two siblings and quickly walked before An Lanxiu, bowing slightly. "Miss An, your visit brings honor to our Ye family. Please come inside and sit." An Lanxiu shook her head slightly. "There is no need to sit, is Ye Lian here?" The great elder hurriedly replied, "Yes, yes." After saying that, he looked toward an elder beside him, quickly call Ye Lian out. The elder immediately turned and left. At that moment, the great elder looked at Ye Xuan with a cold expression. "What are you doing here embarrassing us? Hurry up and get inside." Hearing this, An Lanxiu immediately frowned slightly. Ye Xuan glanced at the great elder. "What does that have to do with you?" Now he and the great elder were like fire and water. Naturally, he would not give the old man any face. The great elder's face darkened, and he was about to speak when An Lanxiu suddenly asked, "Who is this?" The great elder turned to An Lanxiu, his expression becoming gentle. "Miss An, you may not know this, but Ye Xuan was originally the heir of our Ye residence. However, this person is arrogant and domineering, and his talent is ordinary. He was completely unfit to bear the responsibility of heir, so our family removed him from that position. Who would have thought that he would hold a grudge against us and—" At that moment, An Lanxiu suddenly said, "You say he is arrogant and domineering. I have no objection to that. But you say his talent is ordinary." The great elder was slightly stunned, then he said, "Of course. He is already 18 but still only at the 5th level, the unceasing realm. Such talent is naturally extremely poor." An Lanxiu's expression became somewhat strange. A sword cultivator, the hidden realm, and this was poor talent. An Lanxiu glanced at Ye Xuan and said nothing. Clearly, she had noticed that something was not quite right between the Ye residents and Ye Xuan. At this moment, the great elder continued. "Miss An may not know this, but he refused to let Ye Lian become heir and arrogantly made a 1-month life and death agreement with him. Speaking of which, the day will arrive in 2 days. If Miss An is free, please stay in Qing City for 2 days and bear witness." An Lanxiu glanced at the great elder, then at Ye Xuan beside her. Her expression was rather strange. Just then Ye Lian walked out. He came before An Lanxiu and clasped his hands. "Miss An." An Lanxiu looked at Ye Lian. After a moment she frowned, a heaven-chosen one. Heaven-chosen ones were people who had cultivated to a certain level, reached the end of their lifespan, and then reincarnated to cultivate again. Such people were always looked down upon by true geniuses. Only the useless would reincarnate and cultivate again, clinging to life in the world. The reason she had come to Qing City was not because Ye Lian was a heaven-chosen one. It was because someone here had triggered a heavenly phenomenon. Someone capable of triggering a heavenly phenomenon had aroused her interest. But now that she saw Ye Lian, she was somewhat disappointed. Ye Lian had concealed his realm, but his cultivation was unstable, as fragile as foam. Though he was indeed somewhat impressive, he truly did not enter her eyes. Compared with him, she valued Ye Xuan more. His foundation was not much worse than hers. He had cultivated the hidden realm and was also a sword cultivator. Thinking of this, An Lanxiu glanced at Ye Xuan. "In 2 days I will come find you." With that, she leapt onto her horse and prepared to leave. Seeing this, everyone in the Ye family was stunned. What was going on? Even Ye Lian was dumbfounded. She was leaving just like that. At that moment, the great elder recovered and hurried behind An Lanxiu, bowing. "Miss An, are you not going to spar with our Ye Lian?" An Lanxiu sat on her horse without turning back. "He is not qualified." After saying that, she urged her horse forward and disappeared from the Ye family's sight. Behind An Lanxiu, everyone in the Ye residence stood blankly. Ye Lian's expression was also extremely ugly, as if he had eaten filth. He had been looked down upon. This was the first time he had been looked down upon since becoming famous. He could not endure it. Under everyone's gaze, Ye Lian suddenly charged out. The great elder's expression changed, but he was too late to stop him. At that moment, An Lanxiu suddenly stopped. In the next second, she swung the long spear in her hand toward Ye Lian. An invisible pressure descended upon Ye Lian. Ye Lian's expression changed completely. This was spear intent, spear intent. Ye Lian stared at An Lanxiu in terror, his eyes filled with disbelief. She was so young, yet she had already comprehended spear intent. Seeing Ye Lian stand motionless, An Lanxiu withdrew her spear. If you had not stopped, perhaps I would have looked at you a little more highly. Unfortunately, you stopped. No wonder you had to reincarnate and cultivate again. You truly are not merely mediocre. With that, she glanced at the Ye residents and at Ye Xuan and Ye Lian, who had been ignored to one side, then shook her head slightly. The higher-ups of the Ye residents are truly a bunch of pig brains. After saying this, she urged her horse away. Ye Lian clenched his fists tightly, his expression extremely ugly. As for Ye Xuan, he led Ye Lian back to his own courtyard. He did not care about Ye Lian or the great elders group at all, right now. He only wanted to cultivate diligently, stay with his sister. Wait for the duel 2 days later. And then take his sister to the imperial capital. Big brother, that sister just now was really beautiful. In the room, Ye Lian suddenly spoke. Ye Xuan looked at the little girl and smiled. My little sister will definitely be very beautiful in the future too. This was not a lie. Ye Xuan himself did not look bad, and his sister had been pretty since childhood. Once she grew up, she would surely become a beauty capable of toppling cities. Ye Lian smiled sweetly and felt secretly happy. After Ye Lian fell asleep, Ye Xuan entered the world prison tower. In a heavy voice, Ye Xuan said, Senior, that girl just now saw through my hidden realm. Did you say no one had ever cultivated this hidden realm before? After a moment of silence, the mysterious woman said, Your hidden realm is different from other people's. Ye Xuan was slightly stunned, then hurriedly asked, How is it different? The woman replied, The hidden realm that others cultivate is easy, yours will be very painful. Ye Xuan was deeply puzzled. Why? She answered, Because what they cultivate is a realm. What you cultivate is your tendons, bones, 5 organs, and entire body. Do you understand now? Ye Xuan. Although Ye Xuan did not fully understand the mysterious woman's explanation, he decided not to dwell on it. In any case, it would not harm him. Thinking of something, he asked, Senior, you also saw that girl. What do you think of her? He was naturally referring to An Lanxiu. The mysterious woman replied indifferently, Let me put it this way, you and your sister are not inferior to her, especially your sister. That little girl surpasses her. My sister? Ye Xuan was shocked. Senior, what do you mean? She replied, For now, do not concern yourself with it. You have already grasped the basics of swordsmanship. You can now try cultivating some sword techniques. Hearing this, Ye Xuan hurriedly asked, What sword technique? Sword techniques were extremely rare. Even though the Ye family had accumulated wealth for many years, they only possessed about 10 martial techniques, and all of them were low grade. Martial techniques were divided into the ranks of heaven, earth, spirit, profound, human, and common. The highest ranked martial technique the Ye family possessed was only a low-grade human rank technique. And only the clan head had the right to cultivate it. In all of Qing City, the best martial technique was a low-grade spirit rank technique belonging to the city lord's mansion. It could be said that martial techniques were even more precious than pills. Sword techniques were rarer still. It was likely that there was not a single one in all of Qing City. The mysterious woman said, I have 2 sword techniques for you to choose from. The first is a relatively good sword technique. Its killing power is great, but once cultivated to a certain level, it reaches its limit. The other is an evolving type. It has no rank and no limit. The stronger you are, the stronger it becomes. It can accompany you for your entire life. But this sword technique has a fatal weakness. If your killing intent and your belief in the sword Tao are not strong enough, it will grow weaker and weaker. On the other hand, the stronger those 2 things are, the stronger it will become. There is no limit. Ye Xuan asked softly, Can I cultivate both? The woman replied, No. Greed swallows more than it can digest. Mastery of one path is better than shallow knowledge of many. In the future, you may cultivate other sword techniques, but for now, it is best to cultivate only one. Your knowledge and understanding of the sword Dao are still too shallow. If you learn more, you will not be able to digest it. Every sword technique, especially the kind I pass to you, is not merely a sword technique. It is also an attitude, a way of life, and a concept of the sword Dao. Do you understand? Ye Xuan looked around and asked, "Senior, are you also a sword cultivator?" The reply he received was cold. "You ask too many questions." Ye Xuan, she urged, "Choose which one." Ye Xuan smiled bitterly. "The second one, of course." The woman commented, "You are greedy, but remember this, greed must be matched by strength." Ye Xuan nodded lightly. "I know," she continued, "this sword technique is called One Sword Decides Life and Death. Its essence lies in the fact that once the sword is drawn, it determines either your life or your death. Its method of cultivation differs from other techniques. It is built on belief in the sword Dao. Whether you can cultivate it successfully depends on your own fortune." As she spoke, the movements for displaying a sword technique appeared in Ye Xuan's mind. He quickly picked up the An Lanxiu sword and followed each movement. But then he was shocked to discover that they had no effect at all. They even made his chest feel stifled and uncomfortable. Ye Xuan looked around blankly. "Senior, what is this?" The mysterious woman said, "The cultivation method of this sword technique is divided into 6 stages. Right now, you have not unlocked even the first stage, so naturally you cannot use it. As for when you will be able to use it, that depends on you." Ye Xuan's expression became strange. What kind of sword technique needed to be unlocked? Suddenly the woman said again, "A sword cultivator either does not draw his sword, or once he draws it, he decides the life and death of his enemy. The foundation of this sword technique lies in killing intent and belief in the sword Dao. Do not force it too hard. When your opportunity comes, success will happen naturally." Ye Xuan smiled bitterly. For now, he could only accept that. In the time that followed, Ye Xuan did not rest at all and frantically exchanged moves with the shadow. His speed, strength, and reaction ability improved many times over. He had already experienced countless battles. Now he had not only cultivated the hidden realm, but had also become a swordsman. His strength was completely different from before. Although he had only reached the 6th level, the Kai transformation realm, ordinary imperial Kai realm cultivators were no match for him. Time passed in the blink of an eye. The day of the life and death duel between Ye Xuan and Ye Lian had arrived. Through Ye Lian's influence and the spread of the news by several clan disciples, nearly all of Qing City knew about this event, Ye Xuan. The people of Qing City were not unfamiliar with that name. In the past, Ye Xuan had been the one who saved the Ye family from its disadvantages in this place, and became the greatest contributor to the clan. Unfortunately, they now had Ye Lian. Royal families cared little for kinship. Noble families were the same, perhaps even crueler. The strong were chosen by the family. And within a clan, the greatest taboo was allowing 2 tigers to share one mountain. After all, there could only be one clan head. To put it simply, the Ye family had to choose between Ye Xuan and Ye Lian. Even a fool knew whom they would choose. For this life and death battle, the Ye family not only invited the great families of Qing City to watch, but also moved the location outside the residence and built a fighting platform more than 10 zhang wide. Some people had seen through the Ye family's intentions. Right now, Ye Lian's fame was rising. The family wanted to add fuel to the fire and push his reputation even higher. Naturally, there was also an element of displaying their might. Ye Lian rarely showed himself. His appearance this time was meant to demonstrate power. The Ye family's arrangement suited many people in Qing City very well. Everyone wanted to see just what kind of monster a heaven-chosen one truly was. Therefore, almost all the people in the city swarmed to the area outside the Ye residence. At this moment, the scene could be described as packed tight, a sea of people noisy and bustling, the Ye residence. All the clan elders and Ye Lian were present in the ancestral hall. Ye Lian wore a pitch-black robe embroidered with golden thread. Hidden inside, it was protection against blades and swords. At his waist, he also wore a green jade pendant. This jade pendant was not an ordinary object. It was made from a type of jade called mind-calming jade. which had the effect of keeping one's mind clear and focus something extremely important at crucial moments. Moreover, the mind-calming jade contained pure spiritual energy. Ye Lian had now reached the imperial Kai realm and could control Kai. With this jade pendant, he was like a tiger given wings. It could be said that the Ye family had invested heavily in Ye Lian, and the entire clan believed it was worth it. The great elder respectfully bowed to the ancestral tablets. The heavens have shown pity, and the ancestors have blessed us. My Ye family has produced a heaven-chosen one. From today forward, our family will return to the glory of the past. As soon as he finished speaking, the others immediately bowed. Then the great elder looked at Ye Lian's. Ye Lian, today is your first public appearance. There is no need to show mercy to Ye Xuan. The other elders nodded in agreement. A troublesome person like Ye Xuan was best uprooted completely. Ye Lian smiled. Of course. The great elder nodded. I have received news that people from Flame City and Luo City have recently come to Qing City. They are likely people sent by the powers there. The duel between you and Ye Xuan is an opportunity. After you kill him, those powers will certainly try to win over our family, and your name will also spread. With their support, you will attract the attention of the figures on the mountains, perhaps even Kangmu Academy. Ye Lian nodded slightly. I understand. The great elder walked to his side and lightly patted his shoulder. A heaven-chosen one possesses memories of his previous life. No matter who you were in your previous life, the blood flowing through your veins in this life belongs to the Ye family. You do not object to that, do you? Of course. My soul and flesh both bear the surname Ye, Ye Lian said with a smile, though a trace of mockery appeared at the corner of his mouth. To him, Ye Xuan was merely a stepping stone, and the Ye family was only a platform. The great elder was satisfied. Good, go. Guided by the elders, Ye Lian walked out of the residence and stepped toward the newly built fighting platform. The moment he appeared, the surrounding crowd instantly boiled over. A monstrous genius. A monstrous genius who could trigger a heavenly phenomenon, an existence Qing City had never seen before. Ye Lian swept his gaze across the people below the platform, the corners of his mouth lifting. In his previous life, he had once stood among people like them. In this life, the heavens had treated him well, allowing him to trigger a heavenly phenomenon. In this life, he would be the brightest pearl of the King Kang world. He would surely claim a place on that list of monsters. Thinking of this, the smile on Ye Lian's face grew wider. Suddenly, he turned toward the Ye residence and shouted, Ye Xuan, come out and accept your deaths. His voice thundered like lightning, echoing across the sky. Ye Xuan. The crowd immediately turned their eyes toward the Ye residence. Where was Ye Xuan? He still had not come out. Could he be afraid? Impossible. His nickname is Evil Ye. He doesn't seem like someone who fears death. Evil Ye. HMPH, look who his opponent is this time. A heaven-chosen one. A heaven-chosen one who triggered a heavenly phenomenon. Stop talking, let's keep watching. The Ye family will give everyone a satisfactory answer. On the viewing tower not far away, the great elder frowned toward the residence. Go see what trick he is playing. Ye Ku nodded, turned, and left. Inside the Ye residence, in a small room, Ye Xuan held a bowl of medicine in one hand, and carefully fed Ye Lian spoon by spoon with the other. He had been there for an hours. Big brother, today is the day of your life and death duel with Ye Lian, Ye Lian said softly. Ye Xuan smiled. Don't worry. Open your mouth and drink the medicine, good girl. After a while he stood up. Big brother is going out for a bit. Ye Lian obediently nodded. Ye Xuan lowered his head and kissed his sister's forehead, then turned and left. Just as his foot was about to cross the threshold, Ye Lian's voice rang out. You will come back, right? Definitely. Ye Xuan nodded firmly and pushed open the door. Ye Lian sat on the bed and slowly closed her eyes. Her hands felt beneath the bedding until they touched a pair of scissors. A long time ago, she had once tried to kill herself because she did not want to drag her brother down. But every time she saw Ye Xuan, she no longer wanted to die. It was not that Ye Lian feared death. She only feared that if she died, her brother would be left alone. Ye Lian took out the scissors and held them tightly in her hand. If Ye Xuan was gone, she would have no reason to keep living. If she lived, she would live with her brother. If she died, she would die with her brother.